Today, it's an honor to gather to celebrate and recognize the paramount importance of customer experience in our digital era. As we navigate through unprecedented technological advancements, evolving consumer behaviors, the significance of delivering exceptional digital experience have never been more critical. Today, we embark on a journey of exploration, innovation, and collaboration to uncover the strategies, technologies, and insights that drive customer delight and loyalty. Let us collectively inspire, innovate, and elevate the standard of customer experience at the 6th edition of Digital Customer Experience Conference in Awards 2024 Bangalore chapter. With this note, let me introduce our chairperson of the day, Mr. Raja Lakshmipathy, Managing Director and Vice President of India and SAARC region at Genesys. Mr. Lakshmipathy is the Vice President and Managing Director for Genesys India and SAARC region, responsible for driving cloud and digital customer experience solutions. With 30 years of experience, he offers strategic counsel on leveraging AI, cloud, and digital to enhance customer experiences. A huge round of applause to Mr. Raja Lakshmipathy.
Get close to that. Sorry about it, actually. Okay, so usually I used to get slots immediately after lunch, so I could utter anything and then just walk away. But call it my lucky day that I got the first slot, so hopefully I need to be a little more careful than what I otherwise always do, right? So as introduced, my name is Raja. I'm based out of Bangalore. I run the business and strategy for Genesys in India and South countries. Is there an echo here or should I move?
No, it's okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
So Genesys is a global cloud contact center and customer experience applications vendor. Sorry. Can you hear me? Okay, because I'm getting some feedback. So we are a global customer experience and contact center applications vendor, and we operate in more than 100 countries, and we orchestrate close to 70 billion interactions every year for more than 7,500 customers. So I think that gives me a credit to come and talk about experience, at least I feel. Yeah. Now our vision is to drive empathy in each one of those 70 billion interactions that we do. At the same time, deliver experience as a service to our customers. Yeah. So that said, let's just quickly move on.
Okay, why is experience important? I think the topic for today is all about digital customer experience. Why is it important? Right? If any of you have been tracking how economies grew in the last 2 centuries, right? Maybe 200 years back, the growth was predominantly based on the agricultural produce. So any country which had the highest agricultural produce used to be the biggest, saw the biggest economic growth, right? And over a period of time, the growth shifted to industrialization, right? I mean, so where the countries which has most industrial output became the major economies. And over the last 30, 40 years, it shifted to knowledge, by the way, and that's when you saw a lot of growth that happened in India, being the knowledge capital of the world, right? I mean, but now, experience is going to be the next, growth driver. And we feel that any brand which has a differentiated customer experience is the one which is going to kind of excel and grow in the coming at least a couple of decades that we could see now. Yeah. So it's very, very important, right? I mean, why we talk about experience here. Now, let's say, I think, experience is not about inward looking, like it's kind of more like how do you drive experience across this channel or that channel. Experience is all about how do you manage every step of the customer's journey, right? So that's very, very important. Right? Keep in mind, it's all about customer and not about what we do internally, right? So we call it as, and we aptly call it as orchestration, right? And so we don't call it as driving or delivering experience. We call it how do we orchestrate those experience for your customer or your customer's customer and so on. Yeah. Now, more often than not, we have seen brands taking a technology route to thinking that it will lead to a transformation, right? But in our view, I don't think technology is not equal to transformation. I'll explain you why. And it's a bold statement for a technology company head to come and talk about technology is not the transformation, right? I mean, I'll give you, right? I mean, so an example. For example, when 30, 40 years back, we would all put in a number or a toll-free number on your website or on the app and then expecting customer to call you, right? I mean, so that was the only mode of collaboration between a customer and a brand outside of the in-person, interaction that we used to have, right? Then came, the digital channels like email and all that stuff. Then we went ahead and put in a great email server and then great email system and then thought that, okay, fine, we'll put it there. Then come the messaging part of it and chat part of it and all that stuff. We went ahead and then again invested on something which is best of the breed and then put it there. Then came social, then came messaging, then came a lot of other aspects. AI came in and all that stuff. So what has happened is, along the way, we have created a lot of silos, as you could see, right? I mean, so, which are good. I mean, which are best of the breed, no doubt about it, right? But unfortunately, what happened is we have created islands of technologies along the way, right? So what happens is, the data doesn't flow from one channel to the other channel, right? There is no visibility in terms of what is happening across your customers' journey from the moment they enter into their experience. And more often than what we have seen is, this actually increases the cost for the organizations. At the same time, decreases the experience for your customers, right? So that's the flaw in this whole model, right? While we did all things right, thinking the technology is a transformation, we added best of the breed in all of these factors, we created capabilities, we created capacities and all of that, but unfortunately, we didn't get to where we wanted to, right? So that's been the situation in most of the customers that we see. Yeah. Now, if technology is not, transformation, so what is it, right? The transformation is all about relationships, right? The technology transformation is more like an inside-out view as for me, right? If you look at it, when you put the relationship in the front, then you are having an outside-in view of what your customers want and then re-engineering the whole process within to be able to meet to that customer journey, right? So that's the whole thing. Now, there are only four, this is the easiest said than done, right? But there are only four things that we need to keep in mind, right? Look at it from a customer point of view. Where have they been? The customer could either walk in to your brand store, or they would call, they would email, they want to chat, or whatever it is, right? And how do they engage? They go to your website and then create a chat, or they want to pick up a call, speak to you, or whatever. Now, what they want, they're calling to either purchase something, they're calling to make some changes to it, they're calling to look at some payment issues, or some service resolutions, or whatever it is, right? These are the things that they seek. And leave it on their own terms, right? Whether they want to do it on a self-service mode, or they want to have somebody walk into the store and speak to somebody, or whatever. So these are the only four parameters that you need to consider when you want to orchestrate the experience for your customer, predominantly where they have been, right? How do they engage, and what they want today, and do it on their own terms, right? If you look at it, if you put a matrix of all these four and create a combination of, or a permutation and combination of anything that what what the customer wants to do and how they want to engage, you have a game story there. That's what we call it as orchestrating the customer experience. Yeah. Now, this has been the ethos for us to go ahead and then move from where we were 32 years back. Right? We started off as a call center organization, like anybody else. We started off with providing voice call centers. Then we brought in omni-channel capabilities into the same thing, right? Then we added a lot of still on the same platform. Then we took the entire payload and moved it onto the cloud. So it becomes easier for customers to consume on the cloud, right? And it's a lot of benefit that brings in. But till now, it was more of a technological evolution, I would say, right? Then the focus was really in terms of how do we drive personalization. That's very, very important, right? Look, there are only two major factors if you look at from a brand experience point of view. One is the product experience, the other one is the customer experience. There are quite a few, but we leave that aside. But these are the two major factors. Today, I don't think anybody is doing a bad product, right? I don't think the differentiation between product A and product B is not that much, right? And we all know, there are, fantastic abilities that everybody create. So, customer experience become more imperative than now because that's the only differentiating factor that you need. Right? So that is where personalization takes us in the stage. Right? How do you do personalization? I mean, by way of using AI, by way of using a lot of ecosystem apps, by way of adding a lot of app-only, ecosystem into the things. How do you do predictive engagement with the customer? How do you kind of understand what the customer needs? How do you get it first time right? How do you get a do a first call resolution? These are the factors which drive personalization, right? When you call a brand name and if somebody is greeting you with your personally and then treating you empathetically, that brand stands for then somebody who is not. Right? So this is more about personalization. The next one is how do we deliver experience as a service? This is the next step to personalization. What it means is, you're not looking at just the contact center or just your customer experience as a operation that is running within the four walls, right? How do you go ahead and integrate forward and backward with a lot of your ecosystem? It could be a CRM, it could be a core banking application, depending upon the industry that you are in. How do I do it, right? So this is where you orchestrate the experience into it, right? So that's the kind of model that we evolved over the last 30 years. Now, in the last couple of years at least, I would say AI has been the buzzword across the industry in terms of how do we make use of AI in all of this, right? And there's been a lot of debate. I was in the Global Business Summit a couple of months back, and then there's a lot of debate around is AI going to retire jobs and all that stuff. In my view, I don't think that is a fact. That is what people told when horses were retired for cars, right? When cars came in, people said, oh, we are going to lose jobs, and computers came in and people said, oh, we are going to lose jobs and all this stuff. On the contrary, it created more opportunities and avenues for growth, right? So that's how I feel, AI is going to help us. And in our whole, platform, AI is the center stage of everything that we do, right? From the customer entering any of your digital footprint to kind of exiting and then getting a learning and feedback, and then how do we plow back and to improve and improvise on that, right? So there are a few things that AI can do. One is from at a prediction layer. If somebody is coming in, we would know easily as to who the customer is, what is the intent of that particular customer today, right? What is the next best action that we could do, right? Irrespective of the channel, right? He could be chatting with you, he could be calling you, he could be emailing you and all that stuff. The AI engine understands and predicts in terms of what is the next best action for that particular customer on this side, right? Now, it doesn't stop there. The AI engine now goes ahead and then looks at on the other side in terms of, oh, there are 500 agents who have come into the shop floor today, right? It is not that I'll just pick up the call and then see that guy is sitting idle for the last 3 minutes, so I'll just push it across. It doesn't work that way, right? That's more of a traditional or a legacy way of doing things. Can I kind of also do a skill mapping of all those 500 agents and then say, for the next best action that the AI decided for the customer, he is the best agent to be able to kind of serve, he or she is the best agent to be able to serve. That is when you are actually mapping the customer's intent and the outcome to the agent's skill, right? That is the best way of delivering empathy that I would say, right? That's what it is. Now, it doesn't stop here. That AI gets into the automate mode, right? It could actually kind of do a conversational AI for instance, right? You can automate a lot of mundane jobs, or you can actually do an agent assist in terms of like co-pilots, if you look at it, right? When the agent is talking to the customer, it actually listens to the conversation and then say, oh, okay, fine, the customer is talking about mortgage, right? The agent forgot to speak about and adding insurance to that, right? This is the co-pilot. The agent is, the AI is continuously monitoring whether they are chatting or even they are talking to the customer. It could look for words and then say, it would pop up in front of the agent screen and say, oh, look, you forgot about talking about insurance on this. How about adding insurance to the mortgage loan, right? So those are something that what we call it as co-pilot. Now, another interesting thing is, at the end of every call, the agent will go and do some after call work, summarizing what happened and all this stuff. Now, AI is listening to this conversation and then say, can I do the minutes of meeting for you, and it is ready for you. Just go ahead and then look and click on that, and it is all done, right? So AI is also on the augmentation layer. Now, all through the way, AI is also learning the whole process, whole journey, and then taking that learning from that and then adopting and optimizing the overall call flow. So that becomes even better for the next customer and caller that is coming into the system. So AI is kind of embedded across the entire journey and life cycle of the customer. So that's what we provide. And the other thing is about digital, by the way. I think, look, digital has kind of, gathered a lot of momentum in the last
10, 15 years. There are two reasons to that. One is from the supply side. When I say supply side, from a brand side like you, there is this element called cost to serve, right? I mean, so if you kind of expect a customer to call you and then kind of speak to them, it involves the network charges, it involves the kind of the agent charges. Somebody will have to go do it and all that stuff. Obviously, the cost to serve in a voice channel is approximately maybe 10 cents or 15 cents or whatever it is. Compare that with a digital channel, by the way, right? The cost to serve in a digital channel like an AI bot or IVR or email or chat or whatever it is much lower than the cost to serve of a voice channel. So obviously, the supply side had its own pressure to move to a lot of digital channels, right? Now, from a demand side, the preference has changed. When I say demand side, look at it from a customer point of view, right? Look at the demographic, right? I mean, millennials, Gen X, somebody kind of my age at least, would always want to pick up the phone and speak to somebody, and then I don't feel a problem is resolved unless and until I spoke to somebody and shouted at them, right? But, I mean, look at it from a Gen Z or kind of some of the recent one, they want everything to be done within the pane of window that they are looking at. If they are on the app, they want everything to be closed within the app, right? They are on your website or they are on your portal, they want everything to be done within that particular pane of window and doesn't want to pick up the phone or speak to them, right? I don't know what will happen to Zen Alpha because 10-year-olds are now sitting with a mobile phone and they're doing things. I don't know what their expectation is. At least I could say that the Gen Zs of the world, they don't want to kind of move out of it. So from a demand side point of view, the preference has changed. So the supply side had cost pressure and the demand side has channel preference. So that's why it's very, very important that we add digital into this. Like I said before, more often than not, it's a bit fractured. We always think of digital as a separate channel. In some organizations, digital has its own team and voice has its own team, and then social has its own team, right? So obviously, the experiences are fractured because the KPIs are fractured for too many people and all that stuff. So one thing that we advocate to our customers is to kind of have this as an integrated view and not look at it in isolation, by the way. Yeah. And this is where I feel an ideal system would look, right? We saw those islands of technology that we created, right? We saw what the customers wanted. Now, if you were to kind of look at those 4 parameters that we said in terms of who they are, what they want, how do they engage, and what they kind of in their own terms, that if you were to transform that 4 pillars that I showed before and then make it something like this, and this is exactly the pillar on which Genesys Cloud is kind of created, right? It's a native, born in the cloud, built for the cloud application. It sits there, and you look at it, I mean, it's an easy flow, right? There is a data flow that happens between all of them. This is all connected. This is a single platform that can give you right from voice to kind of email, social, to kind of quality management, to workforce engagement, to AI, to kind of anything that you want, right? Now, because this is connected, this also kind of flows through, the data flows through each one of them. You have the complete visibility in terms of the customer journey, and then how do you kind of want to orchestrate that particular experience. And you also look at it going up and down. The reason is it's flexible, right? You can consume the way you want it. You want to go kind of use some 1,000 licenses today, and next year you want to bring it down to maybe 500, and then you want to grow. It has the complete flexibility to kind of go up and down, right? And if you also see that the dots are moving forward and backward, right? I mean, so which means it's not only looking at just the platform, it also has a lot of ability to kind of go and integrate forward and backward. What it means is, right, today we have close to 600 plus App Foundry partners. So anything that you want to kind of integrate your customer experience application with, it could be the likes of Microsoft Teams, it could be Google, it could be Amazon, it could be Salesforce. In fact, Salesforce is an investor in us, so we just launched native Salesforce CX Cloud on that, right? So we're seeing a lot of customers appreciating it, while you have a native contact center applications or customer experience applications sitting within the CRM application. So a lot of customers believe it good. Apart from that, any application that you want to integrate, if you're in retail, you're in banking, or you're in hospitality, all that integration is possible because this is an API first platform, by the way. Yeah, so that's what it is. So with that, I think the exceptional is now the new norm, by the way, right? I mean, what we thought as something value add has become the norm today, and then I don't think our customers are going to accept anything less than what is ideal for them, and this is exactly what we want to kind of deliver. Yeah. So quickly in this, I think, like I said, we were a global leader. I did say that just to kind of excite you. Basically, this came from a lot of analysts. The last Gartner Magic Quadrant that came in June 2023 puts us at the top for the 9th consecutive year, by the way. For 9 years, we've been at the top. It always feels lonely at the top, but I mean, it's a good place to be in. So that is where we are on. Not just Gartner, but you look at any of them, right? It could be IDC, it could be Frost & Sullivan. Everybody has put in there. Now, I'm just going to, it says time's up, so time up. So I'm just going to conclude this with this slide. So ultimately, you know what? There are two things. I mean, you see a brain there and you see a heart there, right? I mean, it's always a conflict that you go through, right? And brain thinks logically, right? I mean, this is what the businesses need, right? You need a kind of, to get your cost to serve down. You need to kind of look at how do you optimize on the overall operations. And this is more knowledge driven. This is what you do, right? But at the same time, you cannot ignore what the customer wants. The customer doesn't want somebody to pick up the phone and to speak, right? I mean, they want empathy. They want it to be treated empathetically. You won't be able to give this empathy to the customer unless and until you have a complete visibility of what's going within your organization, what's going across multiple channels, how are we orchestrating the journey, and so on and so forth, right? So this is what we do. We provide brain to the organizations. At the same time, we give a heart to our customers. So this is what Genesys is all about. And my time is up, and thank you very much. Really appreciate. You've been a great audience. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Raja Lakshmipathy, for being the chairperson and delivering the opening remarks. To felicitate Mr. Raja Lakshmipathy, I request Mr. Shripat Raj, Director of Product and Digital Engineering Services from Happiest Mind Technologies, to please join us on the dais. Can we have a huge round of applause for our chairperson, Mr. Raja Lakshmipathy?